We don't have an intro bit, so do video thing now. If you've been aware of me for any amount of time, you'll know I'm an Inhumans fan. It's not great. It really isn't. No ongoing. The last one we had was dreadful, so I'm kind of glad we don't have another one, but I mean, I like it. Is that too much to ask? TV show we had was dreadful. That's what we're going to be talking about here. There. And nothing else going on surrounding the Inhumans. No promise of a film, no promise of an ongoing. No promise of seeing these characters again in comics for God knows how long. In this, I'm going to be breaking down the biggest problems with the Inhumans TV show and how it was just that bad. How it broke me. So the first clip I'm going to be watching is the initial trailer. I remember thinking about this positively, clutching any straws I could, because I thought that this show had, even if it's a tiny chance, I thought this show could be good. The cast was great. Bits of this look pretty decent. So let's start watching it. Yeah. What is this? This is awful. What's the... Means nothing. I don't know why that exists. Why? Oh, look at us, it's IMAX. Oh, look, we were given a big budget apparently. I can't see it.
They're looking for you.
What are we?
What if I told you there's a place where people have powers like us?
That eye effect just looks awful. It's just... The Inhumans should be brightly coloured. And I get there were reasons why it's not. But they should at least try. Do something.
The city of Adelan. And I can take you.
I like that shot. I like that shot quite a lot. It's quite... It looks good. I actually like Black Bolt's costume in that shot as well. Medusa's, it's a bit... But, you know, I'm not complaining too much.
The city of Adelan. And I can take you there. We're Inhumans.
Ooh, IMAX event. Ooh, look how special this is. Oh.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this.
Oh, see, this song is popular, so everyone's gonna like this show. In fact, take back what I said earlier. This is the second trailer, and I actually liked it because of this song, and so did so many people. The trailer's just as bad as the first though. It's just got a song. This shot though, this shot that I stopped here on, it's pretty good. I like that one.
See what's behind.
Brother, sooner or later the humans are going to find us.
Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm not.
Oh, see, this song is popular, so everyone's gonna like this show. In fact, take back what I said earlier. This is the second trailer, and I actually liked it because of this song, and so did so many people. The trailer's just as bad as the first though. It's just got a song. This shot though, this shot that I stopped here on, it's pretty good. I like that one.
Their first course of action will be to try to destroy us.
Run!
I remember that scene in the series in which MCU Felicity said, "Is that a hoof?" Jesus Christ. You just need to... This show is so bad. And you can see the groundworks of this awful show in this trailer right here. And how did none of us pick up on it?
I'm only human after all.
We need to go to Earth now.
See, this gunshot, this looks good, but this is all the stuff that's done in IMAX. The rest of it looks god awful. I don't know how any of us thought this trailer looked good, because you can see the IMAX stuff and then you can see the rest of it, and it's so contrasting in quality visually. It's just awful.
Now, we need to strike first.
That was a decent shot. Again, massive contrast.
It would only lead to war.
She just snapped that guy's neck. That looked dreadful. Maybe because it's the stuff that, you know, came later on. I think that was either the end of episode 2 or beginning of episode 3. I have not watched it for a while, and I won't. Except for the commentaries that I do. First one was linked below, maybe.
Are you speaking for yourself or for our king?
That hair, it looks good sometimes, but it looks awful here.
Some people got the real problem. Some people out of love. Only humans after all.
Maximus is trying to take over Adelan.
Put the blame on
I like that line. Basically, everything Iron Rowan says is good. That's it. It's it, isn't it? It's just it. Iron Rowan. The main three in the cast are great, but they're just not even good dialogue.
Are you going to kill your only brother?
You can see the rudiments of the poor show here. You just can. I was convinced that this was going to be good after this trailer. Looking back on, you can see all of the faults with the show. Later on in the video, I'll get into specific faults that I had. But look at this. Look how bad it is. I don't think anyone remembers how bad this show was. This is awful.
Stop it!
This shot of his eyes are incredible. This is the only time you see Anson Mount's full acting range. And he's a good actor. I can't doubt that. Oh, it's the hair again. It's the hair again. It's the CGI hair with the orange strip. That's not how coloured. That's not how you shine a light through hair. That's not how you shine a light through hair. That was vile.
I'm only human after all.
Honor me
I'm
as
only
your new
human.
king.
You're just a human. Yeah. Cool. That wasn't said with any ounce of quality at all. So that's it for the trailer. That was awful. Within that trailer you could see the real problems with this show. The biggest of which being the inconsistency in budget. The shot of the gun firing is the biggest example of this. Because in comparison to the rest of the show, their boxy sets and their just poor writing in general, you can really see inconsistencies within the show. Going into that trailer, I was rather positive, and coming out of as well. Because you could see signs of things that were vaguely positive, that shot of the gun, and just the look seemed okay. And then you get to Hawaii and there's these really poor green screens, which I didn't note as something awful, which I should have done at the time, but I just didn't. I had way too positive of an outlook of the show going in. So when I watched the first 2 episodes, that was nearly soul destroying with how bad it was. Another one of the major problems shown within the trailer is Medusa's hair. This should have been a teaser at the end of the first season. So much time could have been dedicated to the moral quandary surrounding how the royals treat their people. And therefore, by the end of the season, when Maximus removes Medusa's hair, Maximus is seen as kind of doing the right thing, and people grow to empathise with Maximus, the brother who, at the end of the day, wants what is best. And then, at the end of the first season, Maximus has won, and when this story arc concludes, so I'd imagine at the end of season 2, Maximus has made a difference. The royals have learnt to treat their people better, which is not something that the Inhumans really showed. They touched upon it briefly, but it wasn't shown. And that storyline is what worked so well in Black Panther and should have been done here. Maximus should have built empathy. People should have been able to empathise with Maximus because what he's doing is helping the people. He is the people's king. Another issue I found within the trailer, and is far more prominent within the show than it should be, is the family aspect. These people do not feel like family. Even the traditional royal family within modern culture, who aren't that close, still care about each other. And I don't get that between any of them. There were more relationships within the family than just Black Bolt, Medusa, Gorg and Karnak. And I guess to an extent Crystal Medusa. Black Bolt and Karnak should worry for each other. Medusa should worry for Crystal. You do not get to see these relationships which hold such large importance in the comics. Meanwhile, time is being wasted on MCU felicity. Another problem within the show is the unwillingness to embrace the comics. The bright colours, the Steve Ditko atmosphere that he creates, that's so prominent in Thor Ragnarok that it is near impossible to believe that these two properties are within the same universe. I mean, Inhumans is probably not part of the universe anymore, but still, you cannot imagine that this Steve Ditko-y arena Grandmaster, all this stuff, and even Halla in Captain Marvel, those don't work with the bland, grey, boring Inhumans atmosphere. That it's just not visual. The Inhumans are wacky characters, and to not have them be wacky characters with wacky colours, that's just removing a big part of them. And another point where this is prominent is when Attilan is destroyed so early. Attilan should not be destroyed this early. Maybe if they left Attilan because of risk, sure. But Attilan is a key point to the Inhumans. It is a character within itself in the same way New York is a character in every single Spider-Man book. Look, Attilan does not have to be... You don't have to stay comic accurate. You don't. You just don't. Films like Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Endgame have shown that. You do not need to do it. But what you do need to do is stick to the cause of the characters. Removing the hero from their prime location works in Spider-Man Far From Home because him being removed is part of the story, and by the end he has the ability to go back, and when he is back at his best. Meanwhile, in the Inhumans, nobody wants to be anywhere. Attilan doesn't matter. Hawaii does not matter to the show. These could be any two separate locations. It wouldn't matter because these places are not their own character. The closest we get to that is Hawaii, when Karnak is found with those people who grow weed, and that was weird. I don't know why that was a thing. Removing the Inhumans from Attilan can work. And now I'm referring to the first two throughout the whole season. Removing the Inhumans from Attilan can work, putting them down to Earth can work, but you need to establish Attilan as an important location and as its own character. You cannot do it without this, and that's why it didn't work. Who cares if they were in Hawaii? Who cares if they were in Attilan? If the show got a second season, guess what? Nobody would care, because these characters, these locations, which are characters within themselves, are not cared about. When Spider-Man stands in front of an American flag, it matters, because he is representative of that. When Black Bolt sits in his throne, that means nothing. It means absolutely nothing, because we do not care about this throne. We care less about this throne than we care about that chair Thanos sat in for 5-6 years. We do not care. One last issue that I do want to mention, and while this is irrelevant now, this was my biggest issue when the show came out, along with a few other things that are minor and I'll get into later. The lack of interconnectivity with the universe. The Inhumans work so well with the rest of the Marvel characters. They need the Fantastic Four. They need all of this cosmic craziness that goes on. They cannot go without them. The only mention we get to the wider universe is in the first episode, when they're talking about the Terrigen getting into the water, or the fish oils, or I can't remember. I stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right as that happened, so I was perfectly in place to lead in. But I don't understand. I just... Why? Why wouldn't you even go, oh... What if there was an Avengers Quinjet going overhead in a shot? Or reports of Crystal's, whatever it was, blast caused some disturbance. And, oh, I remember within that scene she said, you're some kind of god of thunder. But that could work without the Avengers, and that doesn't even work, because it wasn't thunder, it's more like lightning. It's so frustrating, because within the MCU, there are some crazy characters. You could bring in Emily Van Camp to investigate the situation, and guess what? That'd be great, because we know this character. She could be our lead-in. If they replaced MCU Felicity with Emily Van Camp's Sharon Carter, and made her one of the slightly off central characters within the show, that would be great, because it gives us a reason to go about the characters, and we get more development for this one that we already have, rather than developing this one whose father ashes on the moon, something, blah. We don't care about her. But when you bring in a character that we've already seen, that we already go, oh yeah, she was with Captain America, even if that's the extent you know her, when she shows up, there's you're gonna find something within it. And she is your lead into the rest of the universe. She's the one that can bring the Inhumans in at a later date. She can say, okay, Avengers, Inhumans, cool. Obviously it wouldn't work like that, but we need something to grasp onto. Because in Ant-Man, Anthony Mackie being in Ant-Man, it's one of the best scenes, because it's sort of a, oh, yeah, I know him. I mean, I liked him in Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron, but, oh, look, it's him. Yeah, it's him. I like him. Because he's fun. And that's your gateway into this universe. It's not just mentioning something that happened at the end of an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season, which really isn't relevant anymore, because that happened 2 years ago. So you're connected to the rest of the Marvel universe, because you mentioned fish oil tablet things, which are great. I suggest you consume them. Actually, I shouldn't be suggesting that. I don't know the age of my audience. But, oh, that was an awful tangent. But if your connectivity to the universe is to be vaguely connected to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is connected to the rest of the MCU by the odd mention of Thanos. Thanos' troops are arriving on Earth. I haven't seen the season, I've just seen the caption within the... just seen a screenshot and what's said. And the odd Nick Fury appearance. Then that's not connectivity. Just bring Maria Hill in for an episode. Who cares? Sif. If Sif had been in that show, that would have been fun. But no, we don't want to even go near the wackier Asgard type characters. No way. No, don't want to touch it. Interconnectivity does not make something good, but it gives you something to grasp onto. And if you can grasp onto something, maybe you can forgive the odd little, his development wasn't great, but you know, I see where he's coming from. And you know, you're going to find some enjoyment out of it. If there's a character that you know and already like, you are not going to get any enjoyment out of it if there isn't. The Inhumans could be done right. The Inhumans have some of the best comics of all time. Look, Inhumans Once and Future King is the best book I've ever read. And I've read a lot. Like, I haven't read as much as most people, but I've read a fair bit. Inhumans Judgment Day is spectacular. And nobody gives it the attention they deserve. Because that is how you show their relationship. Inhumans Judgment Day shows Black Bolt and Medusa's relationship better than anything else. And yet, the show couldn't even get anywhere near that. They had to tell you they were in love by showing you them two having sex in the first episode, which wasn't necessary. If you've got good writing, you don't need to do that. If you've got good writing, you don't need to show the audience that, oh look, they kissed and they're in love. Black Bolt and Medusa's relationship is more than that. It's far more than that. It's not defined by some, oh look at us for having sex in the first episode. Oh god, I hate how I said that. Oh well, continue on with it, because this has taken long enough already. You shouldn't, no relationship should be defined by that. It shouldn't. No relationship in real life is defined by that, and if that's how a relationship, and if that's how some relationships are defined, if that's how some relationships in real life are defined, I'm not interested. But that's not Black Bolt and Medusa, is it? You can't say this is the Inhumans and then do that. I don't understand how you could make the Inhumans so bad. It all comes down to writing. Whoever wrote the show, no one else involved apart from Scott Buck, I have a problem with. The cast was excellent, while a little bit old. But the writing is just dreadful. The writing is the difference between it being an awful show and a pretty decent. Like, it looks bad, but I love all of these characters. The writing is everything in that show. The writing is the difference. A lot of films, you can say, like, that really awful CGI, really awful third act. Sort of, how it, plot. It's not. Because that is an Inhuman story. There's an Inhuman story in there somewhere. You could write a good story with that plot. With, okay, this has to happen this episode, this has to happen this episode. But then you sort of change around what they're doing. You can write a good show like that. That's not... I could write a better show than that. And so, I'm going to write an Inhumans pilot. I did that off the spot and I'm going to end up doing it now, aren't I? In a few weeks' time, I will have an Inhumans pilot written. One that shows the characters well. One that establishes Attilan well. And I will show you that it's not hard. And I will try and keep it so there's minimal special effects. Well, she's gonna have her hair, but you don't need to it doesn't take a genius to write Inhumans. You just need someone who cares. And clearly, Scott Buck and whoever else on the writers team does not. I'm sure there's some deleted scenes out there that were fantastic that got cut just because Scott Buck didn't want them. Because they didn't move the story forward. Well, guess what? Characters matter. That's the one thing the MCU has nailed. But that's the one thing this show has failed on. Characters. I don't care. If they did another season, the only reason I'd be watching it is because it's the title Inhumans. I would not be watching because I love the first season. I would not be watching because I was interested in where it could go. I'm watching because it says Inhumans. And for everyone who doesn't care about the Inhumans, they will not be watching. Except all those people who enjoyed it. What? Why? I know people who enjoyed it, and I still don't understand the reasoning. Because even if it's just a TV show, it's pretty bad. The costumes were rambled on about for ages. And I looked at them positively because, as Armin said back then, of Comic Book Cast, I might link below, I might not, I don't know if I remember, because tight schedule. It's being filmed the day before it came out. But as you were saying before, these are just their regular clothes. There were some great concept arts out there. I've seen a bit of them, and they were fantastic. And if the costumes we got are just their regular clothes, that'd be great. And they said, oh, Black Bolt is going to have the tuning fork. Oh, show that. Me show that. The headband can be done well. Look at Inhumans Once and Future King. And I will keep going back to that show because it is... Show? Comic. I will keep going back to that comic because it is the best Inhuman story. That can work. It doesn't have to be much. You don't have to overcomplicate it. If you overcomplicate it, it ends up looking like the one we got. And that's dreadful. We were promised everything. And we got everything. But we got everything awful. Everything was awful. I don't know how you can screw up these characters that are beloved by so many. I don't know how you can get them so wrong. Oh my god. Crystal's costume isn't that bad. Oh, Medusa's, I don't like the shade of purple, but it's fine. Gorgon, fine. Karnak, I prefer it be changed, but it's fine. Black Bolt's costume is the main issue because it's sort of these sort of thin, like it's got like the white stitching, but it's not got the white. It's not got white strips. It's like having white stitching is enough, right? No, the costumes at the end of the series were bad. They were really bad. But at least they were an improvement. And if we'd gotten them from the start, that would have been something. Look at these costumes. Black Bolt's end of season costume was dreadful. You saw it then. It's awful. But it's something. It's promising. It had the cape, kinda. It had the strips. And that's better than what we got. I'd rather have a cheap costume that looks decent and is vaguely and is like solidly comic accurate than something really expensive and kinda and we got the worst side of that. The CW knows its best. Comic accurate costumes of everything. As much as nobody liked the Flash costume last year, it was comic accurate, and guess what? It was fantastic. It was what people wanted. Do you know what? They give it to us. They give us a new costume every single year. And 9 times out of 10, those costumes are great. Look, Dreamer, the Elongated Man. Those are 2 of the best costumes in any show, and they're made for a side hero that aren't particularly important. And yet the Inhumans can't make a decent costume. But Black Bolt, King of Atalan. Can't make the mask? What, does the mask not work? Yes, it does. It does. You don't even need the mask, you just need the band, but you need to do the band right. Doing all the work for this, for this, has really broken me. Like, the title was to make fun of Hitop's video, but it's genuinely painful. Because the more I've looked into this show, the more I've had to watch these clips, and I'm not doing the watch throughs of the other ones. I'm just not. I watched them through first to check if they're okay. Yeah, sure. But I can't do any more because I hate the show so much. Why does this show have to exist? If you're just gonna ruin the Inhumans, get them to a point where they're removed from comic books, then what was the point? What's the point in hiring Scott Buck? I know Scott Buck hadn't have done Iron Fist by then, but you should have known. You should have had an idea that Scott Buck was going to ruin the show. You can't. If Scott Buck is ever rehired at Marvel or Marvel TV, you just don't watch the show. Don't watch anything with Scott Buck, because he'll buck up the whole show. Look, Marvel TV is probably the best currently. Netflix has been cancelled, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still good. And look, for as long as Scott Buck isn't show running, all these shows are going to continue to be great. Cloak and Dagger, Runaways, whatever else we got on Hulu, the Ghost Rider show, provided Scott Buck is not part of any of these things, Marvel TV is going to dominate the superhero TV show. It's inevitable. And yet, what we're getting, we've gotten, Daredevil Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, all minimum good. Iron Fist, bad. Luke Cage, fine. Luke Cage Season 2, fine. Jessica Jones 1, great. Season 2, bad. Season 3, fine. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., great. And then there's the Inhumans. And then Defenders, which is fine. And what's that? 3 out of 13? 3. But then you've got Runaways and Cloak and Dagger, which are all great. And then you get to the point where you're looking at 2 bad seasons, 3 bad seasons out of anything in 17. That's a great track record. But why can Inhumans been one of them? Why can the Inhumans been decent? I know this is a lot of rambling, but the quality of Marvel TV is far too high for the Inhumans to be allowed to be that bad. And somehow it was. And that's appalling. And it's unacceptable. But unfortunately all us Inhumans fans, the Church of Black Agar Boltagon, represent. You just have to live with it. We are the comic book fans that are going to get shafted most of the next 5 years because of this show. Because this show ruined the reputation of the Inhumans. To the public, the Inhumans are terrible. And you can't stop that anymore. Like, to the public, Thor is a great comic book character now. I'm not a fan in the comics, but, you know, everyone's going to say, oh yeah, people are going to pay more focus to Thor than they are the Inhumans, even though the Inhumans are vastly better. You can't do anything about that. Because of this show. Because of how appalling this show was. Oh, I hate this. I hate talking about the show. I hate it. And yet, I accidentally made a mistake and did a vaguely big tweet, which meant I actually had to make it. It was a joke. Jeez. It's so disappointing. Oh my god, the end of this has sounded like a YouTube apology video. So many just sort of, and sighs. And I would like Scott Buck to do a YouTube apology video. Make him do the most typical one ever, because he ruined some of the best characters in comics just because. Look, okay. Time to get real. I've been reading the Inhumans since I was 4, 5, 6, somewhere around there. The first book I read was Silent War, and I loved it, and I've been reading the Inhumans ever since. Yeah, a lot of comic book fans get shafted, fans of the Dark Phoenix storyline especially, but at least you've had it. At least you've gone, oh look, did the Phoenix shape and there were some X-Men's in it. Meanwhile, the Inhumans, is that Black Bolt, really? I mean, when he speaks, he blows things up, but that's about it. That's the only resemblance. Medusa's bold already, so, so disappointing. Even Fantastic Four fans have it better. They have one half decent film. Why is my cat trying to climb in my drawer? Anywho, look. Will things get better? No, they won't. Because while we're going to keep believing them, oh, it's an Inhumans plan, it's a plan for the Inhumans, it's not going to happen. It's just not. I'm not going to see it. Because all of these sources are unreliable, but I will believe it every single time because I am so desperate. I'm so desperate for an Inhumans reboot. But it has to be part of the MCU, and if it's not, what's the point? What's the point? So now I'll go on to the two ways of which I would pitch them. As I'll be writing a pilot, I'm not going to talk about the TV show angle. I'll talk about the way I would go about it in the film universe. They would be the villains of the first Fantastic Four film, but it wouldn't be traditional. They would be young. You'd have Freddie Highmore as Black Bolt, Naomi Watts, is that her name? I think so, as Medusa. But they're young. They're not yet the Kings and Queens of Atla. They fight, but you know they just fight the Fantastic Four because it's what they know to do. And so they're way more interesting villains than they are heroes. So you do that story with the Fantastic Four. I haven't read enough Fantastic Four to know how to approach that, but John Krasinski is Mr. Fantastic, Emily Blunt is the Invisible Woman, etc., etc. So then you go on to their own solo. Once and future King Freddie Highmore and Naomi Watts as the leads, and you do the whole story. Tom Holland is Spider-Man. That's a name that gets people in theatres. People are going to watch your thing because Tom Holland is Spider-Man in it. And you can do that page for page. Yeah, you can extend scenes and you can remove the odd little bit. But that book is a perfect film. And the way you end it and then you can have maybe Kang teasing the credits for him. Because Maximus doesn't have to be the bad guy at first. He can be perfectly good. And then you can see his evolution into being the bad guy that everyone knows. Not everyone. Everyone knows and probably still should be played by Unknown. I don't remember who I cast as Maximus in my fan cast. Even though I remember being told that he was an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. briefly, so that doesn't work. And it wouldn't be Iron Man because he's too old. So, do Once and Future King. Young cast. Keep them for eternity. And then you get to do every single Inhuman story with them. Because if you do each Inhumans film, give it its own title. So you can do Once and Future King, and you can do Royals, and then you can do Silent War. And it doesn't have to be a trilogy. It can just be a long line of films with different titles, because an Inhumans movie is always going to be an event movie, because the Inhumans have that ability. They have the ability to be these big characters, And I wish when Fox had the rights to the Inhumans, which from what I'm aware they did, they had actually done something with them. They'd actually made something out of them. Even if it was awful. But then when Marvel got them back and they did them, they'd have, okay, let's not do that. It should have been ran by a Taika or James Gunn would be perfect for the Inhumans. I know they're the most obvious choices every single time, but guess what? Their style, their thing works with the Inhumans. It's bright, it's colourful, it's wacky, it can be fun. But we're not gonna get that, are we? We're not ever gonna get that perfect Inhuman story. Without an ongoing at the moment. Even if we just got an ongoing back, that'd be fine. Sorry if there's any rustling in the back. My cat's attacking a bag. Oh, that's it. So I'll start writing Inhumans pilot. And that's it. I want to do more of these. Suggest what other shows, whatever media I should talk about. Yeah, it doesn't get much more bleak than this as a comic book fan. Unless it does, then tell me. Because look at all the things I could talk about. The Fantastic Four, anything really. I could talk about anything. Yeah, check out my personal Friday where I'll talk about representation in media, which is incredibly important to me. And I think that's all I have to say. Except I wouldn't have paid £20 for this if I didn't love these characters. I don't know why I did that. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, if you like this, subscribe and check out our podcast, which is returning Monday with a Spider-Man talk.